Oh, make sure the volume's down on that. It may not be. Yeah.
All right. 1 minute.
In the high country today, those rain chances though only about a 20% chance, and even less chance that the storm becomes severe, flooding concerns. By tomorrow though, that chance does pick up again.
Your what?
My phone is like.
Day of relaxation and also day of preparation.
My mom's watching. Good morning, Mom.
I seen her. I seen that.
Yeah, say hey to Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Patty.
All right.
Here's
30
the
seconds,
intro.
y'all.
I've had advice given to me, but it was confusing and didn't really work.
Recovery Talk helps me help a friend.
I like it. You can call in and talk about your problem. They offer solutions. That's what I was looking for. Recovery Talk helps.
All right, 10 seconds.
Know someone who does. Call 828.
Oh, my mom got on.
5, 4, 3, 2.
On WATA.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Recovery Talk. We already got the moms join us on Facebook Live. Good morning. Everybody say good morning to their moms.
Good morning, Moms.
Recovery Talk is brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is the newest car shop here in town. If you have any issues, your check engine light's coming on, give them a call, 828-355-4434. It's 828-355-4434. Recovery Talk exists to bring hope and help for the hurting. And today I kind of want to just get right into it. Our friend Chris over here that's been co-host on many of our shows. Chris was not feeling well. I think we mentioned that in the show a few episodes back. Chris feeling much better, right? Glad to have you back, Chris.
Much better. Glad to be back.
And we got your friend Jonathan Dale here, and I'm going to let you introduce him. Why don't you say hi, Jonathan?
Hey, guys. What's up? It's nice to be here.
Super excited to have Jonathan Dale here. We were talking earlier. We grew up in church together and haven't seen each other for a lot of years. So it's really cool to see him this morning. He's been doing some pretty awesome things. I think he's going to tell us about here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But one of the things that Jonathan has is he has a story of a journey in recovery.
Yes, sir.
And that's why he wanted to, after everything's said and done, that's why he wanted to be here today, was to share that story with you. And we just had coffee across the street, and we were talking a little bit about the format. But basically, you know, it's a free-flowing conversation. It's going to be focused on you, my brother.
Right.
And really, you know, what it was like, what happened, what it's like now.
Yeah. Well, I kind of would like to start from the beginning of the process of how this all unfolded for me. You know, just to kind of introduce myself to the listeners, my name is Jonathan Dale, and I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a musician, I am a father, I am a husband, I'm a friend, but I am also a heroin addict. And that didn't unfold for me like it does for a lot of people. I was raised in a very, very strict Christian home, and I mean, to the point to where, like, we didn't listen to secular music, we didn't wear shorts, my mom didn't wear a lot of makeup, like, it was very, 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 very conservative, and...
Never heard of the ones that you can't wear shorts.
Yeah, I know, it was, like, I remember one time, like, going to my grandparents' house, and, like, my grandmother buying me a pair of shorts, and my dad coming home, and, like, seeing me in the shorts, and, like, that not going so well.
You know, I am from South Florida, so...
We went to the same church, and mine wasn't quite that extreme. But some similarities, but not
quite as
extreme.
Yeah, but it was pretty extreme. And so, like, the top three things that, like, you know, my parents told us not to engage in, not to think about, not to ask questions about, were sex, drugs, and alcohol. And so from a young age, like, I've always been, I'm a really curious person, like, when it comes to music, when it comes to life, when it comes to ways to do things. Like, I'm very curious, and I love to learn. And so I wanted to know what was so bad about them. And so from a young age, I had a question about drugs, and it was just something that didn't come into play in my life like it does for a lot of people. I didn't start out using pain pills. I didn't start out like with another addiction. Like, I went straight from drinking alcohol when I was 18 years old to basically, long story short, shooting up heroin.
So you hadn't really done anything until you're 18.
No,
Okay.
I was completely like I was the good kid. Like I was the perfect example of a good kid. Like I traveled and sang Southern gospel music from the time I was 8 years old till I was like 17, all over the country in a different concert venue, in a different church, in a different event every weekend of my life. My parents would take me, my mom would take me, my dad would, like I said, was a pastor. And so he was home a lot while mom would take me to the events that I had to perform at. But yeah, life was really different. I mean, I didn't even when I'm sitting here right now, like looking back on my past, like looking back at my childhood, looking back at those years, like I'm not even the same person. Like, I mean, it's amazing what things can do to change you and things can do to make you think differently. And I'll be honest with you, my addiction is probably one of the biggest things that is kind of, I don't want to say that it's like opened me up to like different things, but it has opened my mind to accept different people. You know what I mean? Because like beforehand, I was told in the church that, you know, drug addicts are junkies, they're going to hell, they're worthless, and now I know that that's not true. I know that every life matters and every person matters, and it's just it's a big thing, and it's really important that we're raising awareness about this epidemic. I absolutely love that we're here today. This is amazing. But yeah, I started out, you know, like I said, as a child, not really sheltered, not really knowing anything. And then when I was 18 years old, I was actually around 17 years old, I auditioned for a TV show on CMT called Can You Duet? And people will be familiar with that show from Joey and Rory Feek. From their tragic loss a couple years ago, and they were the big success from the first season, and then I was on the second season. I was the first runner-up on the TV show, and I signed a huge record deal with Big Machine Records in Nashville, which is like the biggest record label in Nashville. Like, it's an amazing label, and a lot of different things happened, but that's when the doors started being open for me to alter my mind and alter my body with things like alcohol and marijuana, and which led to cocaine. And
so you're on the show like at 17 and got this record deal around 18.
Got the record deal at 18.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I signed the record deal, had a huge record advance. You know, I was 18 years old, had never been out in the real world a day in my life, and I was always protected. And so I moved to Nashville, had about 30 grand in my pocket, and
a head full of curiosity.
And so I, long story short, the record deal ended up dissolving because just a lot of different other reasons, and we walked away from our record deal. And then after that, I moved back home because I'm like so devastated that everything in Nashville is not going the way that it was supposed to go. So I've up until this point, I've battled mental health issues since I was 12 years old. Lonely, like just stemming from loneliness, sadness, things like that, feeling different because I was such a different kid. I mean, most children are not out singing the national anthem at a Carolina Panthers game. Like, most children are not out performing for thousands of adults. Like, I felt weird. I felt like a freak. And so I was, all those mental health issues started stemming from me when I was 12. And I personally believe that you can't have an addiction issue without a mental health issue. I think they go hand in hand. And so long story short, I was battling mental health issues like all of my life. And that area of my life, like when I look at it, when I see the depression and when I see the PTSD and things that they say I'm diagnosed with, you have to understand that when I was using heroin, I was getting all of the dopamine and all of the serotonin that I needed. So like, I felt great. Life was awesome. I didn't need my meds. I didn't need anything. Like, life was wonderful. I felt
People don't use heroin because they hate it.
Exactly.
Right.
People use heroin because it's something that
does something
for them.
Right.
And honestly, for me, heroin was my release. I mean, I felt free. I felt like all my problems that were inside my head that I was dealing with the mental health issues were quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, long story short, I met this girl when I moved back home, and she was in recovery. And I thought, at that point, like, I had never done anything really hard besides, smoke some pot, and I had a little stint with cocaine. And so I looked at her, and she was like in recovery, and I was like, I can help this girl, you know, like I can be there for her and really help her. I really liked her. And one day we were driving down the road in my truck, and she was talking about her addiction, and she was talking about heroin specifically and about how it feels and all this stuff. And I just turned around in my truck and looked at her, and I was like, can you get it? Like, I want to try it. Like, it sounds like something I would like to try. And that's a great idea, right? Let's try heroin today. But
seemed like it at the time.
Seemed like it at the time.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good idea. And so I did, and I was specifically addicted to black tar heroin. And the first time that I used black tar heroin, I broke it down in water, snorted it, and then that stopped working about 3 months into it, and I had to start shooting it up, which opened up a whole new level of addiction for me. Anything I could pull up in a needle, I was shooting up. Meth, anything. I was doing it all.
They often say the ritual of using a syringe. I mean, I was, with an IV drug user, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Needle fixation.
Yeah.
Needle, yeah. I mean, I could still, so the audience understands people, I could still see it on television,
And it
gives me goosebumps,
Yeah.
and
my wife actually tries to protect me from that because it's such a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be watching certain shows like on Netflix and things like that, and it's like sense that something like that's getting ready to happen, and she'll be like, walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, because she wants to protect me from it because
She's
it
a
is
good
a
wife.
trigger. Yeah, she's an amazing wife, and it's a big trigger for me to visuals. Even like I don't know about. I think insulin syringes are the same color everywhere, but
I think
with
so.
the orange cap, like
yeah.
that orange color, like bothers me. Like on the board, like it bothers me, like
Yeah.
to see that color. And it's just I have triggers. I mean, I think that's part of recovery is to identify your triggers. And if you don't identify your triggers, how are you going to get through them? Like,
Right.
how are you going to get through the day? And
But you can get through them. For
But
everybody
you
listening
can.
out there, just because you have a trigger doesn't mean you have to use.
That's right.
So,
That's right. There's it's coping skills, and it's learning more about yourself, learning more about your habit, how you got there, why you got there. And I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I've spent years in therapy over this stuff, and trying to get to the bottom of what my underlying issue is, and that's powerful. I encourage anyone out there that's struggling with addiction, like, to make that phone call, like call that counseling center, call that psychiatrist, get to the bottom of your issue, and it'll turn everything completely around for you. I promise. It's an amazing thing if you open up your mind.
So I take it your wife's name is Courtney,
Her name is Courtney.
because she's the one saying right now that you're so sweet that she loves you.
Oh yeah,
So.
I love her too. I love her too.
Yes, I wanted to. I'm your armchair theologian here on the show, so
Yeah.
I want to just say one thing. If you're going to a church and they're giving you this sense that you bring something to the table that makes you better than any other people on your own, you should probably change churches.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing true about Christian doctrine, is that God is a great equalizer and says nobody brings anything to the table when it comes to having a relationship with me. That's why you need a Savior.
That's right.
Anyway, we're getting close to a break. 828-262-1567 is the number to call. If you got a question for Jonathan Dale, give us a call, and he'd be happy to field it, or we can just keep listening to his story. He's got a lot to tell.
A lot.
All right, so we'll be back in just a minute.
Sweet.
Right.
This is fun, guys.
Yeah,
Let's see how this
going well so far. I got a squeaky chair.
It's okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going
No,
on.
maybe it's stopped.
Wayne's hole. Where's Wayne's hole?
Yeah, there you go.
I've heard of it, I'm not sure where it's at.
Let's see how
We listening?
This is a song.
Right, so yeah, I mean, now at this point I can definitely play it whenever.
All right.
Now that I know it works, I can promise you I can play something through the board.
Sweet.
What you guys actually want this time around, so I will start. Okay.
I was listening to the song.
You want it? I mean, we can play it back.
No, we'll listen to it later.
Hey, Uncle Willie. My uncle and my mom are watching.
Sweet.
If you want, you can see anybody that's commenting.
Sweet.
There's your wife.
The wife.
She
If
was
you
talking
log
about
into the
the.
show, you can see
Oh,
the
really?
questions live. If,
Okay.
if you watch live, see right here it is.
Yeah,
It's
just
showing
tell
you
me if a
too.
question comes through.
Okay.
Sweet. We got 25 people watching. That's good.
There was 30. It's 26 now. There was 30 at one point.
On my actual page.
Amanda Sutton. Hey, John.
Oh,
Love you guys.
Amanda.
There's my
I love
brother.
You, Amanda.
Here's my uncle said, hey, Jim.
We got about 2.5 minutes. So
2.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Shell.
Yeah.
Yep. They said, love and appreciate you, John.
Oh, I love you guys too.
They can hear the microphone right there. They're hearing you live.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, it's recorded.
Okay,
They're
cool.
hearing everything that's going on in the studio right now, even during the commercial breaks.
That's awesome. I love it.
So. Yeah, that's true, Terry. A lot of people do watch later. We thank you for your live support, though. I think you are every week, Terry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Chris Evans.
Chris. Oh, I love Chris Evans.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam. How are you? Good to see you, man.
$1.30.
Before I started this show,
Oh, yeah?
he was coaching me a little bit.
Oh, he was?
But
You don't know how much you use your
he
elbow
started
if you
coaching me, and then he
tattoo
realized
it.
what kind of
yeah?
show this was.
Sore?
He's like, well,
God,
everything
that
I'm telling you really doesn't apply.
Yeah.
New tattoo, everybody.
Cool.
The amount of times he's come in while I've been on the air and like tried to have a conversation with me as I'm talking live into the microphone always just throws me for a loop. So I'm like, and I start stuttering and just rambling. And
He's a good coach, though. He sits you
The
down
amount-
and he's like, okay, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Let's do this again. You know?
the amount of stuff that he knows, plus the experience he has, because I mean, I don't know how
Oh, that's
long
awesome.
this show's been going on, but certainly longer than I think I've been alive. All right,
That's my
44
uncle.
seconds.
That's my mom talking about my uncle.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you still going down to Lake Norman? Is that where you lost your wallet, or are you going?
No, I lost my wallet. My first one at Guy Ford, and then I lost my other one at Snake Pit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I love Lake Norman. I think I'm going back there next weekend. I got tickets to go see Luke Combs
Oh, yeah?
with a buddy of mine before he goes off to the Army again. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go enjoy that show and then hang out at the lake, weather permitting.
Snake Pit and Trash Can. A lot of our guys go there. A lot of Freedom Farm
Those
guys.
are amazing places. All right, about 5 seconds, y'all.
Someone's been lucky enough to
Here we go.
know John for
4,
years and have
3,
seen he has changed.
2. Here we go.
Shows that prayer
Stand by, y'all.
works. I was lucky enough to sing in my wedding.
You guys are up.
Oh, we're back. Sorry, we're reading all the comments. Getting a lot
Yeah.
of action on Facebook. If you haven't liked our Facebook page, go to Recovery Talk on Facebook. Like it, share it with your friends, pass it around. We love getting more people involved in the show. Recovery Talk is brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is taking care of all your automotive needs, and we've been announcing on the radio recently that they've needed new technicians, and we got one starting Monday. And,
super exciting.
Super excited about that. 828-355-4434. That's the number to call if you got any car needs. 828-355-4434. And to be a part of the show, if you got a question from Jonathan Dale here, 828-262-1567. It's 828-262-1567. Jonathan.
Yes.
We're back with you.
We're back.
Where were we?
Oh my gosh, where were we? So I don't know, but like, I don't know. Where do you want to start back?
I think you just used heroin for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had just used heroin for the
Well,
first time.
you got into IV drug use.
Yeah, and so like I got into IV drug using, and like I told you, I was using everything that I could pull up in a needle. I mean, I remember days where I would stand in front of the kitchen sink and pull up water just to feel the sting of the needle. Like, I mean, literally just to feel that prick. I would do it without any dope, without any drugs, just to do something to my mind. And that's how embedded I was into my addiction. I mean, I was psychologically addicted, I was physically addicted, I was like everyone. I mean, I was just consumed in my addiction. And to be honest, I did so many bad things to pay for my addiction, because that $30,000 that I was talking about earlier was long gone.
Oh yeah.
And so didn't have a job. Who can hold down a good job while they're using heroin? And not many.
Yeah.
And so I was doing all these terribly illegal things to pay for my drug habit. And
Remember, you're on radio. So
I know, right?
Yeah,
I know, right? And so I just thought that myself. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to, so like doing all these terrible things and like just living this life that you guys like, looking back at my childhood at this perfect little kid that was going around sharing the gospel everywhere, that was going around encouraging people everywhere he went and singing songs of praise and worship and all this stuff, is now sitting in a dark closet bawling his eyes out because he can't find dope. And like that's a reality check, y'all. Like that's a big reality check. And I'll be honest, like I think it was I can't remember who said it. Someone said it on here, talking about how they've known me for years. Calvin and Lorraine. I mean, like people that have known me like you, like all my life, Chris. Like, I mean, I look back at things and, you know, I hate that I got addicted to heroin. I hate that. Like, I really do. I hate that. But because of that, it has taught me things. It has humbled me. My recovery has. And I mean, before, like, I look back at my life and I see this little cocky kid that, like, that thought he had it all going on, you know, and was doing everything perfectly.
Absolutely.
And then ended up being addicted to heroin. Will really humble you. and it'll bring you back down to reality. And so, you know, I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to say this the wrong way. Like, I'm not. I regret using drugs. Like I do, I regret using drugs, but I don't regret the life that I live now. Like I'm really thankful for where it's brought me.
Brother, I relate to that so much. I told you we were just getting to know each other. I just met you today, so I was just getting to know you before coming here. Just had a cup of coffee, but right. I told you briefly I had 6 years of sobriety, and then I relapsed for 5 years, and now I have 7+ years. Right. During that first 6 years, I went to Bible college to become a pastor.
Yeah,
and basically that ended up me relapsing. I lived in Costa Rica. It's a long story. Mm-hmm. But you want to talk about living in a pit of debauchery. I was the Bible college graduate that was going to go serve God, and I was actually had to leave Costa Rica because I was such a mess there. I was a public mess.
Yeah.
I'd been there for 3 years, and like people knew me walking on the street. I was like, won't that guy just leave and go back to the States? You know, I mean, I was that bad, and everybody knew. Yeah. Everybody knew that I had gone to Bible college.
Yeah.
So I mean, I totally understand. And today, Jim used to call himself the Antichrist.
Oh gosh,
that's my brother. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So I really did. I felt like I was like so evil, and I was doing evil things.
Yeah.
But today, if I had not gone through that 5 years relapse, which is not, I'm not excusing it in any way, but man, I wouldn't have the humility today because that first 6 years I'd gotten so big and ahead of myself.
Yeah. And I went through a phase like that too, where I was like, in my recovery, where I was like, oh wow, I'm good, I'm strong, I'm able to do this, and you get a reality check real quick like that.
Without humility, man, you can't recover.
No,
so.
That's just part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and part of it is surrendering, and it's just.
That's what I was saying. Like, I wasn't knocking on your dad and his preaching, because this can happen in any church, regardless of the preacher. But if you were going to Christianity and you're coming from there saying that I am better than other people because of something I bring to the table, there's something wrong with you, because that's not what says in the Bible.
That's right.
So,
and I'll be honest, I do want to say this right now. Like, my parents are two totally different people now. Like, going through this process with me has changed them.
Awesome.
My dad is like my biggest supporter.
Wow.
My dad is like last night, I went and got this tattoo on my elbow last night, and my dad was bringing my daughter back home because I had the appointment or whatever, and Courtney had some stuff to do. And like, he doesn't even care now. Like, he's just chill. Like, he's just so supportive. Like, he's just happy that I'm alive at this point. And it's just so supportive. My mom is my biggest fan. My mom is my biggest support system. I mean, I'm able, our relationship is everything that I've ever dreamed of. And I love my parents. I love my family. If it wasn't for my mom and my dad pulling me out of my addiction, because they did. They literally reached down and pulled me out of my addiction because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't know who else to admit it to. And the moment that I looked my mom in the eyes and had tears rolling down my face in her driveway and said, I need help, she was ready to go from that point on and never stopped and has still not stopped. And I believe with everything in me that she will, you know, help people, you know, through what she's gone through with me. And I love that. I love that there's so much, through so much ugly, through so much destruction comes so much beauty when you allow God to move. And I love that. I'm really thankful for that.
If anybody out there is listening or watching on Facebook and you have a loved one and your family is just destroyed, this is what addiction does. It destroys families, it destroys relationships. I hope you're hearing that there is hope for reconciliation. It's not too far gone. Okay, I know that my family at times felt it was too far gone.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't know what to do anymore. I mean, like I said, I was a Bible college graduate, and I couldn't stop sticking needles in my arm.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what in the world? You know,
Yeah.
what more can we tell this guy? You know,
Yeah.
Did you guys know you were distant cousins?
Yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew
Your
that.
mom just she just revealed that on Facebook.
Yeah, we are
so.
distant cousins somehow, somewhere.
Right.
I don't know by who. But
On Daddy's side?
maybe.
Okay. I don't know.
And it looks like you got a very supportive wife too.
do.
She's singing praises for your
like
family.
just a slide in there about the wife. She I kind of want to talk about something else now, leading into talking about my wife. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can. We've
How
got
long
1
do we have?
minute,
We'll come back and
we'll come back to it.
I want to talk about something I've never talked about in my recovery before. Like,
Whoa!
Yeah, this is like a world exclusive.
World exclusive.
Like I've never talked about this before, and I really want to talk about it. And it's something really important to me that I know that millions of other people go through that I've never vocalized, and I want to do that.
And for those of you hanging in with us, stay till the end of the show because our fearless producer, the most mature 25-year-old I know,
and has the best hair of anybody I've ever seen.
He has worked it out, so we're going to be able to hear one of Jonathan's brand new songs at the end of the show. We're going to end the show with a 3.5-minute song.
Yeah. It's called Dope.
It's called Dope.
Yeah.
He promised me that he took all the curse words out of it,
I did.
so we're going to be good. We're not going to get shut down, But yeah, we're coming up on a quick break. 828-262-1567. That's the number to call if you just want to say hi to Jonathan Dale. 828-262-1567, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Sweet.
Our friend David Daly is watching.
David Daly!
What's up, man? Call me, David. You still in Florida? I guess he's still in Florida.
Oh, I heard he's in Charleston, South Carolina now.
Cool.
This is the slightly longer break.
Slightly longer break.
Yeah, about maybe 5 minutes.
Remember, everybody that's watching right now can hear you.
Right.
So.
That's why I'm here. No, it's not for you guys. This is why I'm here. It's for someone else. This is why I'm here.
Yeah.
God bless them, but that's why I'm here.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, I just I'd like to, when we come back, I'd like to talk about what we talked about earlier and just about the hep stuff.
Oh yeah, man, that's fine. That's a very common issue.
I think it's more common than what people realize.
Oh, it is. It's
Lord.
so common.
Yeah.
So, and people don't even know they have it for years.
Yeah.
It's like they'll go because but you don't. That's not routine blood work. Like it's not routine blood work to see that, and the only way they can see it is if your liver enzymes are elevated, and that's how they saw mine.
Wow.
They did routine blood work, and my liver enzymes were like shot through the roof.
So like casual physical is what you went for, and that's how you found out.
Yeah. Like 2 years down the road too.
Super easy to catch, especially if you're using drugs and sharing needles. I mean, not even just that. I mean, I know a lot of people that other drugs, you didn't have to share needles. You can get it pretty easy.
Yeah. They say you can give it to yourself from using an old needle. Like if there's blood that lies in the needle that stays in the needle because you can't get it all out. And they say that blood can turn into bacteria and you can give it to yourself, but I don't know that that's true.
That's crazy.
What? I don't know. My mom's asking what. I don't know what you mean. What? But what?
She's probably wondering what we're talking about.
Yeah. Talk about the prevalence of Hep C in people that suffer from substance abuse or It's but man, there's a cure now, so I mean, it's like 99.5%.
That's right, I forgot about that.
It's very effective.
Yeah, Harvoni.
I did, it's not what it was called. It was called Selbom.
I think that's the trade name. Maybe I'm wrong.
Selbom, no, start with an S, or something. I don't know. It was terrible.
Is it like a pill you take every kind of?
There was 3 pills I took every day.
Wow.
For 6 or 8 weeks. I can't remember. Or 12 weeks. I think it was actually. I think it was 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Now it's 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
But when I was doing it, it was 12. And it's really hard on your body, like
Yeah.
the treatment,
Yeah.
because it lowers your immune. Oh, I'm sorry. Because it lowers your immune system even more to kill the virus. And it's very tough.
So less than what the main inhabitor of this little room is.
You know whose folder that just got knocked out of?
Let me see. I feel like I know it.
Space Force.
My money's on Mike. Just because it's his commission calculation.
Okay.
Do you think it'll actually get commissioned? Do you think we'll have a Space Force?
I don't know.
Because
Hilarious.
I'm going to get pulled into it.
You're signing up, aren't you?
No, I'm going to get drafted. I don't like flying in planes. I can't imagine the different feeling of a spaceship.
I am definitely applying as soon as it comes out for the Space Force. I'm too old though. I think the Army takes you to 42. I think now, or maybe they've lowered it.
Really?
Yeah, the Army took you to your 40s.
Like draft until 40s?
No. You could sign up.
Okay.
But that changes obviously,
Yeah.
as, when they need or they don't need. But right now they're, I think they're up and up the Army. I'm not sure. Can ask Todd, that's running our page for us. He knows everything about the military.
Leave the profession within their first 5 years. CBS's David Bigno is in Bartow, Florida, and asked
Bartow, Florida.
schools why she began a unique program 2 years ago.
Jacqueline Bird needs every qualified teacher she can get to manage the 104,000 students she has in her district.
Oh.
But they are going to be short this year, about 100.
How many?
Like over 104,000, I think is what I heard.
Generations now, younger generations, they're choosing other areas to go into besides education.
Around the country, between 2009 and 2014, teacher education enrollments dropped 35%.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
Let's see.
WSOC
All right.
TV's Air
35
Center 9
seconds.
Country weather.
Those rain chances are dropping as well as our temperatures. Looks like we'll almost be upper 70s in the high country today. Those rain chances, though, only about a 20% chance, and even less of a chance that those storms will become severe or cause flooding concerns. By tomorrow, though, that chance does pick up again. So use this day as a day of relaxation, but also a day of
10
preparation.
seconds.
From Severe Weather Center 9, I'm meteorologist Jacqueline Shearer for High Country Radio.
Here we go. 5,
This is
4,
WATA
3,
AM
2.
1450 and 96.5 FM.
Welcome back to Recovery Talk, Hope and Help for the Hurting. If you want to be a part of the show, 828-262-1567. We have Jonathan Dale in the studio with us today telling us his story. Recovery Talk's brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech, you've heard me say, is the newest auto shop in town. Give them a call if you got a car need, 828-355-4434, 828-355-4434. So, Jonathan,
Yes.
you said that you wanted to share something you've never shared before as part of your story.
Yeah, because I've done this, I've shared my story a lot, you guys. Like, I've spoken at a lot of different churches and events and stuff like that, and people and stuff like that. But I kind of, there's a part that I've never really talked about. And I'll be honest with you, like, even right now, getting ready to talk about it, like, I feel like I'm shaking. And I don't know why that is. I think it's because I grew up in such a judgmental environment, like, like, not from my parents, but from other people, of like, if you do this wrong, if you do that wrong, there's large consequences. And so it's like when it first happened, what I'm getting ready to say, when it first happened, I was so ashamed that I just acted like it didn't happen. But fast forward into my recovery, I had been clean from heroin and a long list of other drugs for about 1.5 years, 2 years. and I went to the doctor. I wasn't feeling well. Like the opiate withdrawal is the worst thing in the world, and you can't, if you've never been through it, you can't explain it. Like it's hard to explain, but like I still felt like I was withdrawing, even though I was like almost like a year and a half clean. Like I would still have these chills and these hot flashes and all this stuff, and it was like, I know I'm not withdrawing still. Like I know I'm not. And so I went to the doctor, and they did routine blood work and checked me and all this stuff. And my doctor, Melissa, has been a godsend in my life, and she has just been amazing to me, and I love her deeply. But she called me, and she was like, I don't know if I want to do this over the phone. She was like, but we have to, because we have to get you in here and run more tests, because she was like, you have hepatitis C. And she was like, and it's really far along. She was like, it's really progressing, and she said your liver enzymes are all out of whack, and all this stuff. And so we did the proper blood work, and it came back positive. And I remember standing outside when she called me, and she was telling me all these things that I had to do, all these doctor's appointments I had to make, all these things they were going to do to me, all these treatment process that I was going to have to go through. And I remember standing outside, because I was living with my parents at the time, because I was getting clean, and I just like blacked out. I really don't remember details of what she said to me. Like still to this day, I just blacked out. Like I was like, this isn't happening. This isn't real. Not me. Like there's no way that I have contracted Hep C. There's no way that Jonathan Dale has this. And for those of you that don't know what Hep C is, it's a liver disease that oftentimes comes from sharing needles and doing drugs and stuff like that. It can be contracted sexually, but it most of the time is contracted through IV drug users. And it's a liver disease that attacks your immune system, and it attacks your liver, and it's can be deadly. I mean, if you go years without treating it, it will kill you. And my viral load was like out the roof, and they put me on treatment for 12 weeks. And the treatment back then, it's changed a lot from what I understand now, but the treatment back then was hard. I mean, physically it was really, really hard, and it was so like, it was just like a constant reminder every morning that I woke up and had to swallow those pills. You know, it was like, gosh, I'm here. I've got myself here. But then I'll never forget the day that I went to my my doctor, and he had done blood work like the week before, and he walked in and he looked at me and he said, Jonathan, you're cured. He said, there's no more viral load. And so I was deemed cured. And but that was like a milestone in my recovery. Like we were talking about things humbling you, like that'll humble you real quick. I mean, to know that like I inflicted this on myself, like I did this myself, like I gave myself this, you know. And it was hard to swallow. It was hard to get through. But by the grace of God, I still to this day, I have blood work done every December, and I still remain cured.
And you know, it just brings up a thought. You know, there's you went through this in recovery, and there's a lot of people out there that are aware of issues they have, and it's keeping them in addiction because they feel they just can't get help, or they hear stories about, because I know that if you have to pay for that out of pocket, it's expensive.
Ridiculous.
But like they have programs out there now. I mean, actually, right here in Boone, where we live, they're having a very big push at the community care clinic here of getting people signed up, and we've had many guys come through our program that have gone through the cure, and it's amazing, and they actually cure it now.
I know.
It used to be that what they had was called Harvoni, not Harvoni, but interferon, and interferon was a 1 year long thing that was they used to explain it was similar.
That the shots?
No, it was like 9 pills a day, and it was similar to going through chemotherapy, from what I understood. Yeah. And it was only a 50%, success rate.
And now it's like 90.
Now it's like 99 something. It's like so high. So
it's incredible.
It's a wonderful that. So if you know someone out there that's got Hep C and hepatitis. The word hepatitis just means, I think, liver disease. So there's ABC, there's all the different hepatitis, but C is very easy to get. Not even blood. I know a lot of people that have gotten it, they think, through using glass paraphernalia to smoke with, and using drugs, and you can get it that way.
Yeah,
it's pretty prevalent with. Yeah, I'm not going to get into.
I know
Kind of, you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty prevalent. But anyway,
yeah.
So you've shared like up to this point, like how bad it had gotten.
Yeah.
And you started to allude, and you told me before the show, you started to allude to like what happened. I think you said you went to your mom in tears.
Yeah.
So where was the breaking point for the stop? That stopped you.
Well, several weeks before I stopped, like I said earlier, I was doing some of the bad stuff that I was doing to pay for my habit, and I got arrested and was put in jail, and that scared me to death. The cops were not
first time arrested.
Mm-hmm. The cops knew it was the first time I had been arrested. Like, just that whole like playing on you kind of type thing, scaring me to death. And so I got scared. I got real scared.
Everything just got real.
Everything got real quick. And I was like, oh boy, this is where I'm going to end up if I don't stop. Like, I'm going to be permanently in this place. Like, mom and dad can't come get me. Like, they can come get me tonight, but there's going to come a point when they can't come get me.
Right.
And so I remember sitting in the cell, and like all these guys were in there with me, and they were all in there for different reasons and stuff, and like they were all like sharing while they were in there. And I remember just like sitting in the corner of the cell, and all these guys talking about why they were in there and all this stuff, and just like having this moment of like, really, Jonathan? Like, you're here? Like, 2 years ago, you had a record deal in Nashville, Tennessee, and was on one of the most popular reality TV shows in America. Like, I mean, how did this happen? Like, how did you land here?
Now you're in the tank.
In the tank.
Yeah.
And so that scared me to death. And so I used for like 2 weeks after that. I kept using. And then just one morning I woke up, and the girl that I was seeing at the time, like, her and I had dissolved. Like, I was kind of on my own for the first time with my habit. And I just woke up. I think it was a Saturday morning, and I drove over to my mom's, and I was going to ask her for money because I was going to go get dope. And I looked at her, and I was like, Mom, I need $20. I was like, I don't have any gas. And she stuck her head in my truck, and she was like, you have gas? And I was like, I know. And I just started crying, and I was like, I need this to not be sick. And she was like, no, I'm not going to enable you anymore. And she looked me in the eyes and said when I was ready, that she was ready to help me. And so I looked at her back in the eyes, and I said I was ready for help. And my recovery, I kind of feel like recovery's, you gotta learn as you go, kind of, and it's not like anybody has got a book on how to do it perfectly. And
one of the big purposes for this show.
Yeah. And so I went the methadone route, a clinic route, and I didn't. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have. Being honest with you, I'm a really big supporter of like the Suboxone program. Like, I think if that's something that you can do and not abuse, and it be helpful to you, then that's great. But I don't really see how someone can, personally, because of my personal experience, I just got addicted to methadone.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really sad if somebody's never had help before. The first thing I want to do is Google how to get help, and the most money's in the methadone.
Yeah.
That's the first thing
that
pop
comes up is the methadone.
First thing you're gonna go to.
Yeah.
Which is natural,
Yeah, and so that's what I did. I mean, I Googled what to do. I didn't want to go stay 90 days somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to go stay 90 days somewhere, and so I checked into the clinic, and that was rough. That was hard. And it was even, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like, it was harder to come off of methadone than it was heroin.
My uncle's saying that right now.
Yeah, it was 10 times harder to come off of methadone than it was heroin. Heroin withdrawal lasted like 4 to 5 days for me, when methadone withdrawal lasted for 3 weeks. And it was just really hard. And so if someone out there's listening and you're like in the balance of like trying to pick between like methadone, Suboxone, rehab, whatever, like, try to exclude the methadone from the process, because it is definitely harder.
We're coming up on a break. For those of you who are listening, though, the one question we get asked all the time, tough love. You heard a little bit his mom said, I'm not enabling anymore, but she was ready to help him when he wanted help.
Yeah.
So Praise God for moms that finally get to that point. My mom's saying it right there.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get me out of jail. We're on a hard break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Prescription drugs are among the most misused substances in the U.S.
All right, this is the final stretch, my friend.
Okay.
So, went by fast, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot faster than I thought it would.
Yeah. So you got about, if we're going to do your radio, your song, the bottom of 11:30.
How long do we have to talk before the song?
Probably 10 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Can we you just tell me when to wrap it up, and then I can talk about the song for like a second.
Okay.
So let's see, we got.
Is your tattoo an actual song or just musical notes?
It is actually Nothing But the Blood of Jesus, the old church hymn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love this tattoo.
Very observant, Miss Irwin.
Yes, very observant.
You'll have maybe 12 minutes, give or take.
But then you got to subtract 3.5 for the song.
Well, I meant including the song.
Oh, including the song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me think. We got a minute right now, so we'll get in at 19. So we'll have the next segment's 11 minutes. So you'll have what, 8? Maybe 12.
Okay.
I suppose.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think a little bit like what it's like now.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah. Todd, you're on point today. Todd has posted links to your music. He's posted links to the Hep C program here in town.
Todd.
He's posted links to all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Hepatitis,
Facebook fans, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to hear the song because
No, I think if I mute the mic. Actually, I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. Okay. All right, hold on. 3 seconds, y'all. Here we go.
3 seconds. Welcome back to Recovery Talk. Hope and help for the hurting. It's brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech. 828-355-4434 is the number to call for Freedom Auto Tech if you have any car needs. I'm going to rush because we only got like 8 minutes and I want to get back into it. So, Jonathan.
Yes, sorry, I was reading comments.
Yeah.
Yes, so I kind of want to, the last little bit of this is kind of like I want to wrap up like with where life is now. So I have been, on December the 7th of this year, I'll be clean for 6 years.
Praise God.
Yes, and it's not been an easy journey. I'm one of those people that, I really feel like this is like something that, we are going to have to fight for the rest of our lives. And each day is a new day for me. Each day I make the choice to stay clean. And so it's...
Real quick though, I want to Margaret, who's been on this show before, helps us out with a women's program here in town. She observed that she asked about your tattoo.
Yeah, she asked about
and just so the real listening audience knows, you actually have the song notes of
Nothing But the Blood of Jesus. It's the sheet music on my left arm.
And when it talks about every day, that's the only thing that gets me through every day is understanding that truth.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it's I've been clean for 6 years this December. I am married to a beautiful woman named Courtney, and we have a daughter named Presley Jane, and she's 9 months old, and she is amazing. She is everything that I gotta be honest with you, like being a dad is my favorite role that I've ever played. Like, I mean, it's amazing. I can't I don't even have words to put into this to say how thankful and how amazing it is to be Presley's dad and to be Courtney's husband. I told Courtney, I was like, my career and my life didn't start till I married you. I was like, everything before that was like, is irrelevant. Like, it's just, our life is amazing. I'm so thankful to God for the blessings that he has poured out upon us, and thankful for everything that that we have accomplished. My wife's a full-time wedding photographer. She did like 32 weddings, like really pregnant last year.
Wow.
And so she's amazing. I love her to death. I love all of my family, and I'm just super thankful. How old am I now, Debbie? I'm 27.
That's my mom. She's really nosy.
I'm
just kidding. I'm just kidding, Mom. That was a joke.
Yeah, I'm 27, getting ready to be 28 next month. But yeah, so I use things like I really stick to, I try to, every morning I try to like to pray and meditate and really get focused about my day and put my put in action how I want my day to go. You know, put it in action and ask God, you know, to guide me and help me and keep me. You know, and that's a really big factor in this and staying clean is finding that higher power connection, and for me that's God, and I'm very thankful for that, and because when all else fails, when everyone else is busy, when everyone else can't get back to me, I can always fall back on Him, and He's always there for me, and it's amazing, and I'm just super thankful for where I am. I'm super thankful for all the things that God has blessed me with, and one of the things that we are doing right now is I'm going back and forth to Nashville. I work for a client there some, and I've been recording a new album, and I wanted it's a new country album, and when I did the album, like, you know, I wrote most of the songs, and really Tyler Kane in Nashville produced it and all this stuff, and I wanted something on this album about my recovery, like something had to be on it, and because it's such a big thing for me. I wrote, or I didn't write it, but I recorded a song called Dope, and it's one of my favorite tracks off of the album, and I think we're gonna play it here.
We're gonna play it here. We're coming up. We're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close, and it's just I hope that maybe someone listening that is an addict will listen to the message in the song, because it just simply says, you know, I need you more than I need dope. And it's just really powerful, but yeah.
We actually got 4 minutes, so we got to play the song. My brother reminds you, December 7th is a day that will live in infamy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The day of Pearl Harbor was bombed.
Yeah.
My brother's this big military history nerd.
Yeah.
So is this the debut of the song? Was this the first time?
This is the very first time anybody has ever heard.
Are you serious?
If my producer finds out I played this, he's gonna get really angry with me.
So you heard it here.
Yeah. So this is the very first time this has ever been played for anybody anywhere. Like, my wife and my mom are the only ones that have heard this. So
I wanted to also point out that you know, part of recovery is to service, and this is an act of service, and you've been kind of on the hook.
Yeah.
Because Chris is like been talking to you, and I was like, well, tell him not next week, but the week after, and then this week, and then when we finally were like, I think we finally confirmed it just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And how long of a drive is it for you?
An hour and 7 minutes.
So I mean, you were up here this morning. You came here early to meet. I mean, that's an act of service, man. Come up here and share your story.
Of course, man. It's my joy. It's my honor. I mean, God pulled me out of the darkest situation that I've ever been in my life, and I want to share that with people. I want to share what He's done for me. I want to share, you know, how all this happened. I believe it's really powerful stuff, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity, you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're really thankful.
It's cool having you, man.
Yeah, he came up here. 12 years old. Was that the last time you saw him?
No, I guess the last time I saw him was when we were going to church together before I went to college.
Yeah.
In person. So, it's probably 1999.
Sang in your wedding, though.
He sang in my wedding. He did.
Is it okay if I plug the event on the 15th?
Yes, plug the event.
We're doing an event at the J. Broadhill Civic Center on September 15th. It's called A Night of Hope. My friend Megan Lindsay from NBC's The Voice is going to be singing. I'm going to be singing, and then there's going to be tons of people speaking, like a mom that lost her daughter to an opiate overdose, moms that are living with addicted children, addicts that are in recovery. Like, everyone's going to be speaking. The event is free. We raised enough money to make the event free, and so we're going to do that on September 15th, J. Broadhill Civic Center in Lenore, North Carolina. A Night of Hope. Go to anightofhopenc.com.
anightofhopenc.com.
Yep.
This is a concert for supporting recovery,
we're
right?
all about raising awareness about the opiate epidemic, because I feel like in Caldwell County there's like a huge stigma about it, and I want to change that. And I don't care how many years we have to do this event. Like, I will keep doing this event until I feel like there's a support system in Caldwell County for the opiate epidemic, and it's just really important to me.
Well, thank you for helping us out with our support system. We're trying to. I think this is like show number 12 or so. I don't know. I have to get
12.
Down. About 12, and yeah, Bethel Colony of Mercy will benefit from the offering.
Yeah,
That's a men's program down there. It's like a 60-day men's Christian program down there. I know lots of people that have gone to that. I'm actually going down there to have lunch with somebody I know that's there.
Awesome.
Probably next week.
Cool.
So
Is it Mark?
how much we got? What's that?
Is it Mark?
No, it was actually a guy that had been to our program before.
Oh, okay. I see
Yeah,
what you're saying.
he's a resident there right now.
Oh, okay.
look at that. Todd's still on it. More about Jonathan's upcoming event.
Yeah,
He's already posted a link for it. Todd, you are, man.
Awesome.
He's the best.
He is.
He really is. Todd,
amazing.
you guys one day will have Todd on here.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you how Todd got involved. He doesn't come from a personal addiction background himself, personally, but he was very heavily infected, and he's been a great support to recovery that's going on up here. So we're going to try to play this song. Hopefully this all works out.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoy it. First time, the song Dope, right?
Yes, Dope by Jonathan Dale.
Hopefully you guys can hear it on Facebook.
Maybe not.
I want to bring you guys your mics back on real quick.
Okay.
Get back on.
I'm back on.
Mm.
Uh-oh. We had technical difficulties.
I'm working on it.
He's working on it. Maybe we can get it going still. We had it going during the break. So
What's going on?
sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, wrong one. That was my
Oh,
problem.
he figured it out.
So now we have.
Now we have it.
I'll
There.
start it over. Yeah, because that's the middle.
Oh, you can hear it.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, they were saying that you could hear it on Facebook.
You can hear.
Yeah.
Corks off, it's on. The party's just begun. I promise this. Drink is my last one. I know I messed up again. 'Cause I lost my only friend. God forgive my sins. Don't leave me behind. I'll hate myself until I die. My heart would break without you. Might not awake without you. Been hurt and low from living hard for so long. I'm sorry and I love you. Sing with me, bell bottom blue. I'll keep on searching for an answer 'cause I need you more than gold. 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 I need you more than gold. Toast one last puff and two last regrets, 3 spirits and 12 lonely steps up heaven's stairway to gold. Mind myself like gold, a mountain of a soul. Each day I
So we're gonna play out. We'll
cry.
make up the commercials later on.
I feel so low from living high. My heart would break without you. Might not awake without you. Been hurt and low from living high for so long. I'm sorry and I love you. Stay with me, bell bottom blue. I'll keep on searching for an answer 'cause I need you more than gold. 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 I need you more. I need you. I need you more than.
That was beautiful, man.
Awesome song, dude.
Final installment of their incomparable summer.
Thanks for being part of the show, Facebook.
Thanks, Facebook.
We'll see you.
Spring Band in concert on Saturday, August 11th.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.